2 p.m. Let's do it. How are you doing? Are you okay? Yeah?
Fine. I think
People, you can talk, you can use your chat, you can use your mic. We're home in here. It's up to you. Are you feeling all right? Have you learned a lot today? Pretty sure you have, right?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
great.
yeah.
Oh my God. What
Awesome.
have you seen today? Tell me.
Well, about how we learn, that was the
Mm-hmm.
first one that I attended. Like, very
Mm-hmm.
interesting, like understanding the challenges of it.
Mm-hmm.
The second was about storytelling, about like, I didn't get the name yet. Let me go back to the notes.
Oh,
What is the name?
storytelling.
Flash Stories, right?
Flash
Like
fiction
story?
in English class.
Flash fiction,
Flash
yes.
fiction. Yeah, I
Flash
know the
And
sound
fiction.
because
Flash fiction.
that
flash
was very
fiction.
new to me. Like, I loved it.
Encouraging
Like,
reading.
yeah,
Encouraging
amazing.
reading. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, I
That's
love these
wonderful.
events. I love it. I'm pretty sure it was. I like to think that every time we put lots of teachers in the same place, in the same room, it's always very valuable in many, many ways. And when we learn something new in terms of topic, of content, it's even more valuable. I always say this. So I really hope you can leave this lecture with a lot of new insights. I'm literally going to talk to you about how I work, how it works for me, about my reality, and how you can actually apply this to your reality as well. So today we're going to talk about crafting digital learning experiences. And the reason why I named this presentation learning experience and not classes and not materials is because every class we give is an experience. We cannot really think about this as something random. Oh, I'm just going to enter and just, verb to be right here, present perfect right there. No, it's an experience. And I'm not um, romanticizing our job. I know it's tough. We have to do a lot of things, but it is an experience. And I learned this every single day in every single class that I teach. And it's really interesting. My reality today, I teach adults. I have some teens, but I am an adult teacher. I have tried teaching kids, like Gabriel said, he loves teaching kids. I do too, but I kind of I'm not gonna say that I prefer. I feel like I am my best when I teach adults. And that's totally up to you and how you work and everything. It's very personal. I tried teaching very young learners. I tried teaching young learners. I tried teaching a lot of ages, but I feel like I am myself when I teach adults. Love teens too. I love the chaos that is teaching teens, but right now I'm more with the adult part, especially because I teach private lessons. So, like I said, I'm going to talk about how I work, but I'm pretty sure you can actually adapt this and use in your own realities. For this, I'm going to ask you to use your chat so I can see what everyone is up to. And I'm going to ask you, I know Gabriel has just said it, that he works at a private school, but I want to know about you, okay? So you can write on the chat, please, what's your reality when it comes to teaching? Do you teach private lessons? Do you teach at a private school, at a public school? It's up to you. Just tell me so I can read it. I'm just checking the chat right here, people. I'm going to read everything. Private school, private online classes, public school, private school and private online classes, online and presential classes, great. Private classes, oh, so I like it. It's mixed in a way. Let's see if anyone else. Nowadays, teaching private lessons and lessons online for Language Center. Yes, mainly private lessons. Public school. People, like I said, a lot of people teaching at different scenarios, and it's very nice. Experience with elementary bilingual school too. And this is nice. I always we're going to talk about reflection a lot and how to be reflective teachers. But I'm going to open my heart to you right now at 2:04. It's a record for me to open my heart so early in a lecture. But people, I teach private lessons today. I love teaching adults. Am I the happiest teaching online? Not the happiest because I like to be with people. I like to be with groups. But life in a crazy way, in a crazy journey has brought me here and I have to really accept, understand, and just follow my steps. I think I am the happiest when I have a bunch of teenagers around me and I have a marker in my hand and I just teach using a whiteboard. That's when I'm the happiest. And that's it. I worked at an English school, like a language center, for about 8 years. And we know the, the the conditions for working a language center are not the best. We know that in terms of, money. However, that's where I feel the happiest. Like I said, I feel like with experience and with the time that I have been teaching, I feel like right now I am in this vibe of teaching teachers and helping teachers. But like I said, I'm the happiest when I am with my teens, with a marker in my hand, and just teaching a lot and playing games and everything. But it's really up to you. So before we actually start, I think it's nice for us to have this kind of reflection of where we are the happiest and where we are our best. Okay, so I told you at the beginning, okay, so I feel like I am my best when I'm teaching adults. In my current circumstances, yes. Private lessons for adults for me are fantastic. And right now, that's where I feel the most comfortable. But you have to really think about what makes you happy. And to be honest, where you want to go when it comes to journey and professional skills and everything. But we're going to talk about how to actually create new experiences for your students. We're going to talk a lot about materials because that's my vibe. That's what I like to talk about. But we're going to talk about how they actually face the materials and how we can actually use them just to help us. They are not, the most important part in the class. They're just our complement. We are the ones who actually make it work, right? So thinking about that, people, I'm just going to start. You can see my screen, right? Can you see a welcome? Yeah, awesome, fantastic. So the first thing we're gonna do, I just want you to really reflect on how you use these things or how you use these things, because I like to say that we have different insights depending on the people who are with us. So think about that. I just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very, very simple materials, right? I just got a food menu. I just got Spotify that we use every single day. The weather channel, that is our Clima Tempo, right? Google Maps, and a book, literally a fiction for teenagers, for young learners. They are a little bit different because they have more pictures and everything, but this is for teenagers. This is a great story about a girl that, the name is Dear Dumb Dara because everything happens to her, but she's just a preteen. So it's the end of the world for her, but it's just the most beautiful girl in the school that is, trying to be the queen, the prom queen. It's like really random but simple things, but it's very funny and the vocabulary is very rich. So I highly recommend it. But let's think about this as a normal book for preteens. But going back to food menu, think about that. Imagine that we are all in a face-to-face classroom looking at each other, and I just put this food menu on a table. And I say, people, what can we do and what can we teach using this? You can be as simple as saying like, oh, food vocabulary, or you can go further and tell me what you would do and how you would actually use this in order to teach something new. Again, the chat is there for you. And I'm just checking the chat. I love how you talk, people. Just do it. But think about the first one, food menu, how you use it. Act out a restaurant situation. Nice. What else? Role play games. Great. I love role plays, people. It's so nice. Anything else? Nice. Restaurant role play. Request customized menu items, formal and informal requests. Courtesy, that's nice. Ooh, you can even create a new menu. That's awesome. You can even create a new restaurant. That can become a whole damn project. Right? I totally think about that. So see, I feel like it's nice for us to just throw some ideas out because it's just people, it's just a sheet of paper with some things written, but we can make a lot out of it, right? I always say this. So you can go as simple as, okay, let's learn about food. Hamburger, let's focus on pronunciation, or you can turn this into a project. I feel like, and please correct me if I'm wrong. nowadays we are so, and I am saying this as a girl who loves technology. I live for it and I love all websites. We're going to talk about this. But I feel like we are so into sometimes technology that we forget about the basic and that the basic actually works, right? You don't have to do a lot of things. If you get those, toy food and toy vegetables and just bring them to class, you're going to see how wonderful that works. So I just want you to kind of visualize like a mind map. Put in the mind map the food menu in the center and little clouds like indicating everything we have just talked about. So restaurant role play, request customized menu items, healthy and healthy food, numbers, formal and informal requests, how to gesture, get attention, culture, people, role plays, act out a restaurant situation. So see how material can turn into a whole class if you think about all the possibilities. That's basically it. This is the first one, right? So food menu. Think about Spotify now. You can, of course, think about music in general, not Spotify itself, right? So how would you work with music in the classroom? Tell me about it. This is my favorite topic. I'm checking the menu, people. Analyze lyrics, my favorite. Discuss the lyrics, there we go. Pronunciation, vocabulary, cultural aspects, give background on singer. Love it. So see, of course we can go and just do the basics, which is filling the gaps, but we can go one step further. Type of music, genre. We're just having a quick discussion, but I'm show you everything like in practice in a few minutes, right? Karaoke, Susan, karaoke, that's dangerous for me. I love singing. That's so good. I love it. Podcast, listening, music genre, different accents, like a lot of things. And I guess one of my favorite ways of practicing is literally just analyzing the lyrics. Most of the times don't know what the lyrics are about. And of course, we listen, we understand the translation. But if we think about this, it's not what we were expecting in a way. But we're going to see everything in a few slides better. Great. Let's go with the weather channel. You can say weather only. That's good. Susan said, age-related aspects of language. It's true. Oh my God. Definitely. Definitely. It's nice to know, like, when you listen to those country music, you really see how specific they are with vocabulary. And like, oh my God. It's true. It's true. Great, people. The weather channel. Tell me about it. Our clima tempo. You can say weather only. That's no problem at all. But tell me how you would actually use them. Seasons of the year and weather vocab. I love it. Pronunciation, fantastic. See, weather, how disasters affect countries. That's so, that makes me really think about it, people. Imagine if you challenge yourself and just said, okay, so I'm going to use one material for all of my groups. Amanda, is that possible? Yeah, I mean, why not? Let's go with the weather channel. With the basic students, we can teach them all the vocabulary related to weather, pronunciation, seasons of the year, comparison. Katya is saying right now, look at this, dressing appropriately for the weather. With the more advanced students, I have the lesson all set in my mind. I would go like, people, let's go on a trip together, right? Where are we going? Okay, let's go to Japan. Why not? So first things first, let's check the weather. The first thing we have to do is that because we need to pack our bags, right? Great. So what are we going to put in our suitcase? Clothes, vocabulary, it's over there. What are we going to do there? The itinerary, people, sports, all the actions. See how you can actually put everything together in one lesson, but not in a more specific way, in a more general way, but it's very, very effective. Look at this. Lifestyle is often dictated by climate. Definitely, definitely. So we can really go 3 or 4 steps further and talk about culture, talk about creating an itinerary for your trip, comparisons, like Katya said. Let's talk about the differences between Brazil and Japan. Why not? So I guess conditional sentences are good too. They are great. So imagine, because I always say this, people, I love grammar. I think it's one of the most, fun things to actually teach, but we need to contextualize. That's how I prefer to do this. So people say, okay, so let's talk about the present perfect. And they start the class like this. They write on the board, the present perfect. And that's okay if that works for you. No issue at all. But imagine if you think to yourself, so I'm going to teach them about conditional sentences. This is my goal for today, right? How am I going to start this? With the damn trip to Japan. Why not, right? And we can go and just travel throughout all of these things in order to make this a more complete learning. Because we are going, it's like literally riding like a bike, visiting many places, and there is a little stop on clothes, a little stop on weather, a little stop on travel actions, a lot of things. But then the goal, your destination is, let's talk about, look at this, yeah, definitely, conditional sentences, o subjuntivo do inglês, that's it. So you can definitely practice a lot of things with your students. Okay, so if it, I don't know, because in this case, it's just a little possibility. So if it rains in Japan, we cannot go swimming. I don't know, So we can literally just implement different learning experiences in order to make it more complete. In a real life scenario where you have 30 kids or something, you have a book, a textbook to follow. Is this easy? No. I know it's not easy, people. I was teaching at a school not until long ago, and it's tough, but in terms of making this something valuable for your students, it can take literally an hour, a whole class, or just a few minutes. But it needs to be memorable. And I always talk about this. And in my classes, we talk a lot about how we can actually create or just choose materials that are great for us to make our students understand what those things are, but also to make them meaningful in the real world. So there are two different materials for that. Look at this. You start with video of people living in the web. They're dealing with it to stimulate discussion. That's perfect. See, so we need a goal at all times, but the way we're going to get to that goal, it's up to us. And we can make this more and more complete. There's no issue. Then we've got Google Maps. Tell me about it, people. Google Maps. How would you use it? I love Google Maps. Directions, of course. Love it. Planning a trip as well. So see, our trip to Japan can have a little stop on Google Maps for directions and planning a trip itself. And can you think about it, people? So when we're talking about directions, how can I get to a place? I can use, I don't know, our students' neighborhood, which is okay. Or we can use New York, which is totally fine too. So we have plenty of possibilities, that we can use. People, how can I get to the nearest supermarket? Okay, so we are here at our school and we need to get there. How can we do this? Google Maps is there for it. But we can go further always. Let's go to New York to understand how people live, how people walk, what people are, wearing. Everything is possible. If we think about literally, it's going to sound cliche and very repetitive, but all the possibilities, right? Look at this, means of transportation, talking about the past, places, like past experience, show and tell activities. Where have you been? Fantastic. Or for example, what places, like, I don't know, stores and churches and supermarkets, what can you see on your way to school? Tell me everything you can see from there. So see places in town, also something we can practice. So like I say, bring an object you got somewhere and talk about it. We can make the experience more complete if we think about all the possibilities, and that's totally fine. And I always say this, people, we are always going to have the materials and the content and everything that we use that works for us. For example, I have been teaching for about 10 years now in total, almost 11. And I always teach the second conditional using If I Were a Boy by Beyonce. I'm so sorry. That for me, that works marvelously. Why not? That works amazingly, right? For me, it's perfect. And it's not only because I can do a filling the gaps kind of thing. No, there's a video about it. The video is fantastic for teaching. We see Beyonce in a man's shoes and they can understand the grammar better when they can visualize them. And so it's much better for us to really rely on material that we are very confident about, but we need to explore all the possibilities, right? So when I was 16 and I started teaching, it was only filling the gaps, only because I was focusing more on meaning, but also form. But with the age and the experience, I started to focus more on the context that the music video brings us. Have you watched that video? It's fantastic. Yes, this is going to be your homework to watch If I Were a Boy by Beyonce in all remixes and versions and everything possible. Like this, of course, people, we have a lot of songs and everything. We're going to talk about this. But for me, that's my go-to song because it works, right? It works. In the same way, for example, have you ever listened to Somebody That I Used to Know? Yes, but you didn't have to get people. I decided to teach a lesson using that song about 10 years ago. It was a nightmare. Why? Because no one understood a thing. They were like, but you didn't have to cut me off. Okay, and everybody was like this to me. And then the guy started, and people were like, what? And I said, I don't think it's a good idea. Tell me, what do you think was the goal with that lesson, with the song? The name of the song is Somebody That I Used to Know. What do you think I was trying to teach using that song? Sorry. Tell me about it. Used to. So see, something so simple. And I made it something giant and chaotic just because I wanted to use a song, right? Of course, I tried again after some time, some years of trauma, but that made me realize that I needed to really identify what went wrong and just work with that. Count on me is fantastic. That's for first conditional, right? That's amazing. See, it's great. So we have lots of possibilities, but we need to focus on our goal. So my students completely forgot about used to because they were totally focused on that part of the song, right? Lots of expressions too. So nowadays, I always think about, so what do I want my students to achieve? And how can I do that without frustrating them or changing their focus, right? That's really important. So we can use a lot of things. Oh, I'll be there is great too. A lot of things, but we need to focus always on our goal. But we're going to talk about this. Then we've got books, people in general. Because when we think about books, maybe we have a little thing of, okay, so I'm not going to ask my students to read a whole book for us to work because, that's tough. We've got 30 students sometimes, 25 students. But how could you use a book, any book, like a fiction, in your classes? Tell me about it. The title, very nice. Author, chapter, isolated dialogue. Act out this dialogue. That's really good. It depends on the level, indeed. Audiobooks for kids, that's amazing. Reading, commenting, understanding parts of it, that's amazing. Like I said to you guys, I teach adults and I tried doing something and it works. I don't know how, but it did. I have lots of advanced students. So I kind of planted a little seed. I was like in the beginning of the year, I think it was January, I was like, people, how was your vacation? What did you do? And they were like, teacher, they were great. I did a lot of things, but the same as always. What did you do, teacher? Oh, I read a book. What book? The name of the book is Verity. Have you read this book, Verity? It's amazing. It's like a thriller kind of book, but it's quite light. Yeah, it's by Colleen Hoover. She writes romance, but she decided to go for a thriller, and she did great. It's an amazing book. Because I was just planting a seed, I recommended to 6 different students. Not all 6 read. Okay, I guess 3 or 4 read the book and came like to me 3 or 4 weeks after that and said, "Teacher, I just loved it." So what did I do? I created a book club talking about that book. Does it work easily? No. It was just, I tried recommending, they read, so it was great. But how can we make this possible in a room full of kids and teenagers? You said it to me. Intonation in dialogue, reading, commenting, audiobooks, look, like I guys didn't say this, but like act out a dialogue, checking the characters, their characteristics. So how do you imagine them to be? Do you think she's blonde? She's a brunette. So thinking about other possibility when it comes to creativity too. And that's really important. I love reading. Maybe not everybody does, but just implementing some things, some reading skills and, critical reading, even for kids. I think it's really important. Back when I was in college, we talked a lot about critical reading with very young learners, like tiny little books, but that we could read and understand and, talk about this. So this was really good. So these people, picture books, fantastic. We have a website. It's called freebooks.org, I guess, but I'm going to check just a second. It's a website, people, that it's fantastic. That just came to my mind. That's why I didn't put the link over there. I'm going to see if I can find it, okay? It's a website that you can find plenty of different books. Oh, it's not free book. I'm going to find it. Don't worry, people. But it's a great website for kids. Why? Because the books are not in PDF. They have all the design or something to make it look like you are really reading. So you can turn the page and there are sounds for that. So I'm going to look. Oh, I found it. It's called, people, Free kidsbooks.org. I just forgot about the kids. Free kids books. It's fantastic. I don't know, I'm gonna try to open right here so you can see together. So freekidsbooks.org. To be very honest, people, you don't need to use them only with kids, right? But they are for kids. I'm gonna show you. Look, for instance, a day at the carnival. I know you can download the PDF, but you can also come here on Read Online. Just a second that I'm going to put for you. It's loading because it's a whole book. They say here, I find YouTube videos of people reading children's books live. That's amazing. Then turn off the sound and read it at our pace. Plenty of pauses. I love it. That works wonderful as well. Children's books for adults? Absolutely. Just a second, people. Like I said, it's quite heavy. It's a whole book, but it's very nice. I'm going to show you. And it's nice because the vocabulary that you can teach, it's always very useful, right? Look. Yeah, awesome. So people, this is, of course, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can do a lot of things, like I said, for free, okay? 100%. And all you have to do, I'm just going to close this. All you have to do is turn the page in a way, just flip it, and you are good to go. Very tiny stories. I feel like this one is for young learners, but look at these. They plan to ride every ride, but don't lose me. Tiny Mouse tells his brother. We're like so simple, but so useful, Look, and so fast as well, and for free. So if you have a TV, if you have a projector, if you have something, look, great for vocab, Ferris wheel, you can use it. Something interesting, children's books have fewer cognates, very useful vocabulary of everyday lives, picture support. I just love it. 100%. See, numbers, 1 balloon, 2 balloons. I can literally picture myself in a room full of kids counting the balloons with them because they said 1 balloon, 2 balloons, but you can continue with all of the numbers, right? So a lot of things are possible, people. Look. And like I said, I'm going to go back for a second. This is just one of them. This one has 21 pages. Oops, sorry about that. But you can do plenty of different books. It's amazing. I just love it. So this is something you can use at a private class. You can just open it, or you can go and use with your room, your classroom full of kids. It's great. Look. And they put everything here for you. The category, what's the book about. It's amazing. I love it so much, people. So freekidsbooks.org. For myself, I found if I read material that is more academic, it is full of cognates and doesn't challenge me much at all. That's so interesting. It is something that a lot of teachers, they go through, and myself included. When we teach for a long time, especially intermediate students, we tend to grade our language a lot, right, to make them understand. And we kind of use a lot of cognates. So for example, if you are teaching an intermediate student and you want to tell him or her to replace a word in a text, me, Amanda, it's much easier for me. I don't know why better. It's much common for me to say, think about a word and substitute, because it looks like Portuguese and maybe he or she is going to understand it better. It's a flaw that I have, but I do. Teacher talk. Once I did a little talk with a teacher. It was like a mentoring session. And she asked me about it. She was like, what do you think is your biggest weakness when it comes to teaching? Tough question, but you have to ask yourself that so you can be better. Mine, I'm going to say what I said, and that's something I go through until today. My biggest weakness as a teacher is that I spoon feed my students. I literally, if I can, I'm just go like, that. See, put another word in there instead of this one. Fantastic. So I have to really focus on challenging my student, because sometimes I don't want to frustrate him or her. I don't want to make it seem like it's much more difficult than it already is. So usually I am spoon feeding. I got a lot better after this talk with this teacher, but this is something I have to work on until today. I tend to do this, so I have to really control myself sometimes. Great phrasal verbs, amazing. So nowadays I am more focused on giving my students real language, right? Because if we just do this, it's tough, right? Like this. So I agree, people. You're the best. Awesome. Talking about this, which is something that really, I guess, if we think about something that directs me as a teacher, I feel like it's this quote. I saw this many, many years ago, but until today, I really think about it. We've got, we do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. So people, let me ask you something. How long have you guys been teaching? How many years or months? But tell me how long. 15 years, 26 years. That's a lot. 36 years, over 50. Wow, that's awesome. What else? 13 years. 9 years, great. 12 years, amazing. It's really interesting. Why? I have been teaching in total, like I said, about 11 years now. But even though I do count all of the years that I have taught as experience, right? I don't think they count so much as original experience. And I'm going to say to you why. Like I said, I taught at a language center for about 8 years. Literally, people, it was amazing. That really molded me as a teacher. There's nothing I can say about that place. However, I did the same thing for 8 years. The same thing. Why, Amanda? Because they have a method. You cannot really just, I'm just going to change everything. You can't. You have to follow the methodology, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I remember that the little experience I had in terms of changing and getting better was when I changed groups. So for example, they used to have basic 1. So I was teaching that group, basic 1 was done. Okay, so now I have another group of basic 1. I was better. I could feel like I could teach them better, but that's it. So for me, I do think those 8 years were amazing and really shaped me as a better professional. But it was not a lot of experience in terms of different things. When I left, I was really thinking about, okay, so am I a good teacher or am I just a good teacher right here in this context? It really made me think about this. So thinking about this quote, look at this. 9 years teaching English plus 5 years being a PE teacher plus 1 year as a dance teacher, all different things that really shape you as the full and really complete professional you are today, dear. That's amazing. So thinking about this quote that really, like I said, it really makes me move until today. It really helps me. We have to reflect on everything we are doing. If we don't, it's just, not a waste of time indeed, but we have to really think about everything that we do so we don't feel frustrated. So like I said to you, after somebody that I used to know, I tried again. I did. It hurt me, but I tried again in a different context, and it helped me. It worked after I did some changes. But so we have to go according to that. Past experiences changed because of the situation, context, students, a bunch of things. I love this so much. So we need to reflect on that. Otherwise, it's just something we leave and that's it, right? So thinking about that, I like to really focus on the thing that makes me a more experienced teacher in my reality today, which is trying new things. So developing my creativity. I'm always trying to be a better teacher when it comes to methodology and dynamic and strategies. I always do this. But for me, what's the most challenging thing in terms of getting better and getting out of my comfort zone in my little box is my creativity. So this is something I like to develop. And how can we do this? I just put up a bunch of things, right? We have here, become a knowledgeable teacher. In terms of knowledge only, pedagogical knowledge, no. In a very general context, do you have a Pinterest account? Do you? Me too. And I'm going to show you mine. And I'm going to send you the link to my account just so you can see so many things that I have there. I'm going to put here for you. Look. Do I use everything that's on my Pinterest? No, but sometimes I just like to scroll and just see what people are doing. Look at this. I have 2 folders for teaching. One of them has 447 pins. Do I use them? No. Will I use them? No. But it's a certain way of inspiring myself. I'm going to send you the link. So you can see, look at this. Copiar link, and I'm gonna put here in the chat for you, right? It's like scrolling on Instagram, but you're scrolling some ideas, which is great. Look at this. So of course we have some things that are very useful, like, how to organize your files, But look at this, like things that I have never really thought about when it comes to teaching the present perfect. The visualizing kind of thing. And the best part is that if you go a little bit down, you're going to see lots of recommendations that it's really good. So like I said, I'm not going to open this file in one of my classes and just teach using that. It's really rare for me. But when you really consume that kind of content, that gets in your mind and you can use it in different places. More things. Look at this, people. Enrich your vocabulary, like about clothes, but I've never thought about teaching those specific things, Step into your pants, pull up, fasten, zip up. Never thought about that. And I just found it. So it's nice for us to expand our possibilities and mostly making this a more complete experience for our students. And we've got plenty of things, people. Look, idioms using travel words. We've got some games, role plays that we talked about, talk for a minute, small talk. This is fantastic. Look at this, all about me poem. So you can practice many things, feelings. So little things that make me expand my possibilities, and mostly I can actually use them in different ways in our classes. Look, digital escape rooms. I never thought about this. I love this. How interesting. I agree. Fantastic. So this is really good. And Susan, I talk about these like a lot in my classes, that the reflection we have to actually practice when it comes to our teaching methods and everything that we do compare in terms of that comes from our self-reflection, but also from the feedback from our students. So it's a combo that we have to really think about. It's not only about ourselves, because it's really easy for me to just sit down, reflect on my lessons, and just, okay, so this worked, this didn't work. Like, that's really easy, but we have to think about a lot of things, a bunch of things. It's like a combo. So to be a reflective teacher involves a lot of different reflections indeed. So besides our self-reflection, also what our students are thinking about the classes and how much they are actually improving as speakers. So everything is a combo for us, right? Again, somebody that I used to know really proves that. It was chaotic at first, but then worked after that. So my Pinterest is just a little example of how my brain tries to develop creativity. And something very nice, people always click on things, because you're going to see all the recommendations, and it's just going to become like a world of possibilities, like a million of possibilities, because there's always something to explore. Look, a recipe on how to make pancakes. I mean, why not? Songs, and just look, ideas that you're gonna love. So we have plenty of things to do, right? So we need to become knowledgeable teachers. And this is important, people, because sometimes you're going to find content and find some new things that don't actually work for us, but we are trying them out, and that's totally fine. Connect with other teachers. So are you connecting with other teachers, or just in big events like this? In your daily lives, are you connecting with other teachers or no? Yes, awesome. I really miss having some coffee with the teachers at school with a slice of cake. I mean, right? Oh, great, people. Are you sharing your ideas and getting new ideas too? Only online, but that's okay, dear. I think Gabrielle was like, oh, yeah. All right. It could be better. There is a website that I highly recommend. I love using Facebook groups for that, because there's a lot of teachers on Facebook. Believe me or not, that's the only reason why I go on Facebook. But what a very good website. It's called Freed. Do you know Freed? It's Freed with 3 E's. I'm gonna show you. I think it's 3 E's. I'm gonna check this out. If you need the link for Pinterest, let me know. I'm gonna see if how many E's are on Freed. There we go. 3 E's. It's a community for teachers. It's like a Facebook, but for teachers. It's totally free. And there we can find very useful things. Why am I recommending this to you? Because they're going to recommend materials. They're going to create lesson plans and just make them available to you for free, so you can test with your students, which is amazing. Look, and also, which I love, they're going to talk about their lives. They're going to vent about their lives, and this is amazing. So look at this. It's been a while since I last came here, but look at this. We've got I Wanna Be Yours, which is probably the song by Arctic Monkeys, maybe, because of Valentine's Day. But we've got, look, 10 lessons about the Valentine's Day, about Taylor Swift. Speakeasy, I highly recommend Speakeasy, people. This is a website that you can use for conversation classes. You have to pay for the lessons. However, they have plenty of free lessons for you to try out. And it's very good. It's very dynamic, and it's very intuitive too, which is amazing. No worries, people. A gente pode entrar como mentora também. I didn't know about that. So see, we've got plenty of things. But ESL Speakeasy, I highly, highly recommend it, because it is very nice, especially for advanced students, but you can find some basic there. But look at this. So you can really, literally, the day I discovered about this website, I spent the whole day there just reading the articles because they are so good. And it's nice because they, look, they make the lessons available, but they also tell you how it went with their students. So it's amazing. Like there's a lot of things to do, like materials and products, and there's a lot of things to do. So Freed is a good community for that. So if you want to connect with other teachers, become a collector of teaching ideas. That's what I do with my Pinterest. We have some great websites like Padlet and everything. I like to say that I'm a very curious teacher and I like to see what other teachers are doing. So sometimes you can, there are some Padlets that are available for people like public, so you can check them out. All you have to do is, for example, I'm going to put on Google, okay? Padlet ESL resources. I'm just going to try it out with you. So see, let's see this one. Someone, a teacher that I don't know who, because I've just clicked on the first one that I saw, created a Padlet, which is like a great board full of resources about ESL resources indeed. And look at these people. We've got some icebreakers and speaking activities. And I clicked on the first one that I saw, okay? But if you go back to this page, you can find plenty. Look at this. It's amazing. Look, more resources. It's great. It's great. Even on Google, you can find, on Google Images, you can find lots of things. So I like to see what other teachers are doing. It's really nice. Share your learning. You can do that through Freed. I use my Instagram for that. So I have an Instagram for teachers where I literally just share what I do with my students. If a lesson works, I share them with my followers because I think it's always nice for us to just talk. It's really nice to have other people with us. Start experimenting and reflecting on your teaching. Again, people, we need to try things out because like I said, and we saw in the quote, right? So we do not learn from just teaching for years and years. We need to try new things and also reflect on what we are doing. Because if we don't, we're just going to be doing the same thing as always, right? And just to finish things out, because I don't know what happened, but I've just looked and it was 2:20. Now it's 2:47, but wait for it. I just put here some things, but of course, I can make them available to you. Because when we talk about being reflective teachers, it's hard. It's something very abstract, right? Like, oh, okay, so I need to be reflective. How? Okay, so we as reflective teachers, we need to ask ourselves these kinds of questions. So do I vary the way I teach my lessons? Do I try new activities and assess their role in my classes? Like I said, what's my objective? What's my goal? Do I compare my teaching with the teaching of other teachers? Tongue twisters. A tongue twister to find out creative solutions. Like this is just a guide for you guys to identify how to reflect on your teaching and on your experience. Susan, amazing. We have no regrets. Even somebody that I used to know, it's not a regret, it's just experience. And just so we can finish things off, if I'm just going to show you some lessons that I did and that turned into great experiences for my students. This is a great one. It's called Behind the Lyrics. It's a lesson that I did with my advanced students where we just talked about story behind famous songs. This is for free and it's on my Instagram if you want to download it. It's all there. But like I started with a very simple discussion on music, like who are your favorite bands and so on. And then we just discussed this song. I just did a whole storytelling activity with them. This is a song called Girl Crush. So they needed to guess the name of the song. And we just listened to a bit of the song and I paused and we talked about this, like, what do you think this song is about? Who sings it? And then we just went little by little. I'm not going to talk to you about this song and what it talks about. I'm not going to ruin it to you. No spoilers, but listen to it. It's called Girl Crush. And it is by Little Big Town. It's a country band, Little Big Town. Susan, I teach how to create slides on my Instagram too. Just to let you know, I love doing it. So we just talked about everything. Look, it's a whole discussion about it. And then I'm not going to show you, but here's the chorus and what it really talks about. And then we discussed plenty of songs that are extremely famous but we don't know the meaning behind them, right? So, for example, Hey Ya that talks about divorce, or the police's Every Breath You Take that talks about a stalker, or Sexed Up by Robbie Williams that they are played. It is played a lot on weddings, and he says, "Why don't we break up?" On weddings, a great place to play them. Take Me to Church. Oh, that song, You're Beautiful, You're Beautiful, that people say that it's about a maniac, that James Blunt is, you know, it's a whole damn delirium. He doesn't know what's going on, but he just fell in love with a girl. And please do it. Listen to that song. The same with the Love the Way You Lie. Viva la Vida that talks about the French Revolution. So things that we don't expect. That's really important. So there's a lot of things for you guys to explore. I can send you this material later if you want to. But these are just examples on how to create meaningful experiences for our students, especially when it comes to learning, because everything can be fun, but also complete. We don't need to have a very specific focus. We can make the complete experience something good and effective for our students. And that's it, people. I'm just going to put my Instagram for you to see, and I can send you the material because there's a lot. Like I said, this is my Instagram. It's called Educatools. And this is the QR code that you can find all of the information that you need on how to contact me, my email and everything. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I wish we could stay here the whole afternoon. I have this problem. I talk, people. A lot, I talk. But we can talk more on Instagram and we can really discuss more about materials. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you have a great afternoon with all of the other lectures and presentations. And you can count on me on your professional development journey, which is going to be very nice for me as well. Thank you, people.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, dear.